Vikings Game Day Live is presented by Luther Auto and Mystic Lake.
Right side three. 1, 2, 3. 20, 15, 10. Touchdown!
You're watching Vikings Game Day Live.
And good morning, everyone, and welcome to Vikings Game Day Live from Twin City Orthopedic Performance Center in Eagan. The Vikings are getting ready to shoot for their 4th straight win, facing a Dolphins team here in Miami, starting a 7th-round rookie draft pick, a 3rd-string quarterback. We're going to get into that story as much as anything else, but there are no assumptions to be made that this will be a walk in the Hard Rock Park for the Minnesota Vikings today. Mark Rosen, along with Ron Johnson, the rest of our crew down in Miami, we'll get to them, including Don Mitchell here in just a short time as well. But Ron, if you look at their given history, recent history, wins against the Lions, the Saints, and the Bears, all coming back. You're not wondering anymore kind of like what kind of team this is going to be, but is this sort of an identity that you can live with for a while? You know, you're not going to blow people out all the time in the National Football League, and is it good enough? If you can win games like this, to say this is the resolve we have on this football team.
Yeah, I mean, not to throw out a PJ Fleck-ism, but response.
Not today.
PJ Fleck always talks about response. What is the team's response? And when you think about the Vikings team, their response has been resilience. They can come back in any game. They're never out of it. You look at Cam Dantzler getting beat by Amir Smith-Marset, coming back still in the ball. You look at Kirk Cousins having to come back out to win drives. Kirk Cousins right now, the last 2 minutes and 30 seconds of those 3 games you speak of, Kirk Cousins has a 156.3 passer rating. He's damn near perfect. And so he's the #1 quarterback behind Tom Brady, is behind Kirk Cousins in that aspect. You look at also Kirk Cousins in that same metric, on 1st and 2nd downs in that same sentence, 30.6% first downs or TDs on 1st and 2nd downs. So that is #2 in the NFL behind the Chiefs. So the Vikings, this is what this team is going to be, and that's the play there. Like, this team is solid. They have, and people, I saw a lot of tweets about this. People are like, man, this team last year, if this were to happen last year, the team probably loses these games. Cam Dantzler probably doesn't make that play. He probably is thinking too much about the defensive calls and all the stuff Mike Zimmer had those guys doing. Nothing wrong with it because it worked at a time with Xavier Rhodes and Trey Waynes, and so let's not forget that. But some of these younger guys just could not catch on.
And Ron, as a player, does it start to settle in your mindset that we have the confidence, it doesn't matter if we're trailing, this is life in the National Football League for the most part. We see the closeness of most of these games that if you have a quarterback, if you have a team, if you have players that believe in each other, you can win games like this and still be successful in the long run.
Yeah, I think so. Like, and what you don't want to do is read your own headlines. Like, don't start reading those headlines that say you're good, because teams, fat cats get slaughtered. So what they have to understand is they're a good team, but they have to fight it every minute. They are the worst team in the NFL, or one of the worst teams in the 3rd quarter. I don't know what it is about the 3rd quarter. It's the 3rd quarter law with this offense. They start out hot and fast, and then 3rd quarter kind of cools off, and then the last 2 minutes and 30 seconds, they're back to hot. So let's find a way to be sustainable. Sustain that all through the games. You look at Justin Jefferson, and it doesn't feel like this, but he's the #2 receiver in the NFL behind Cooper Kupp in every single metric except for touchdowns, and then he's 1st in first downs gained, which is 20. So
he had that incredible first half against the Bears last week, ended up with 154 yards, 12 receptions. So he's on track for some special stuff again this year. Let's go right now down to Don Mitchell in warm, sunny Miami, Florida. And Don, there's so much to talk about today, including the starting quarterback for the Dolphins, but sort of set the scene there for us and what's happening with the Dolphins getting ready to host the Vikings today.
Yeah, absolutely. Here in Miami, Rosie, it is the Skylar Thompson show. Everyone excited that this guy gets his very first NFL start. He did come in, we know, in action. We saw what he did the last game, but today is his first start. There's a kind of a funny story about that too. His dad was driving when he called to tell him he was getting the start this week, and his dad was so engrossed in the conversation he missed his exit and had to drive 20 miles out of the way just to get back so that he could go to work. So the whole Thompson family very excited, and of course he'll get his start. Now, a lot of people wondering about Teddy Bridgewater. He has been cleared from concussion protocol, as has Tua Tagovailoa, but it will be Teddy as a backup today. Now, Teddy was knocked out of last week's game versus the Jets after just one play, and that's when Thompson was pressed to action, as we know. And he went 19 for 33, 166 yards, but he did have an interception, a fumble. He was sacked 2 times in their 40-17 loss. Now, I talked about Tua. Tua said he was feeling good. He was back in practice. He has been cleared out of protocol, but the team is giving him another day to rest, but they say he will make the start next week against the Steelers. But the problem with Thompson last week, the team is saying, is that he was just giving crumbs of snaps. That was their word, crumbs, ahead of his appearance against the Jets. He had no fellow quarterbacks on the sidelines to give him any help. So the Miami Dolphins are expecting to see a different Skylar Thompson making his start today. So we heard all week from the Vikings that regardless who starts at quarterback, they indeed will be ready, because this team in the past has been bitten by backup quarterbacks, and they certainly do not want a third-string sensation a la Tom Brady and Drew Bledsoe. So look for the Vikings defense to make a statement early. We'll send it back to you.
Yeah, you're right, Don, about that. The Vikings have been bit before by third-string quarterbacks, but do you get the sense that if Skylar struggles, that they'll have a quick hook and maybe put Teddy Bridgewater in there? Are they going to kind of ride him out and let him go, and let's see what the kid can do?
Well, the game plan is now to ride him out, see as far as he can go. But Teddy, he is back in practice. He was in full participation on Friday, so he says he's ready to go. How cautious they will be is the key. So if this kid is going okay, they're going to keep him in, see what he can do.
I appreciate it, Don. We'll be checking back with you a little bit later at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. The Vikings and the Dolphins kicking off at noon right here on Fox 9. Back with Ron Johnson, and I mentioned Justin Jefferson and the kind of start he's off to. He's getting a lot of national pub as always, and among the top receivers. And as you know, receivers are getting paid this year. He's got a big contract ahead of him. But let's talk about the president right now. It seemed to be after getting shut down for a couple of weeks that the Vikings have to find more creative ways to get him the football.
Feast or famine. That's what I call this offense when it comes to receivers. You look at the Rams, and honestly, that's what you have to look at. Look at what the Rams do with Cooper Kupp. It's feast or famine. Cooper Kupp's going to have a ton of targets, or he's going to be shut down and have 2 or 3 catches. That's what this offense is going to be about. Finding ways to move Jefferson around in the pocket, in the offense, put him in the backfield, put him in the slot. If they just flat out say we're not going to let Justin Jefferson beat us, then you have KJ Osborne and you have Adam Thielen. KJ Osborne as well as one of the top receivers in the last 2 minutes and 30 seconds of games. Why? Because at the end, teams are like, you're not going to beat us with Jefferson, find somebody else. It's been KJ Osborne. But Justin Jefferson, like you said, he's on pace for, some odd 139 catches and about 1,700 yards. But the touchdowns it's what's really sticking out to me. He's only got 2 touchdowns so far. And so he's going to have one of those games like the kid last night for Tennessee that had 5 touchdowns and 6 catches. And I think it's Jalen Wright or whatever his name is. But that's what you have to see with Justin Jefferson. It's feast or famine. He's either going to feast or it's going to be he's got to take the scraps that are left.
Well, he was so wide open the entire first half. You wondered what the Bears were doing. They made adjustments in the second half, but I can't imagine a defense looking at that tape going, that was a good idea.
Yeah, when you line up in cover 2 and then all of a sudden Justin Jefferson's now out wide, you no longer can bracket. If you bracket the widest receiver in cover 2, you're screwed. And so then he's smart. They run 2 guys up the seam towards the safeties, keep the safeties in, send Justin Jefferson up the sideline or run some kind of dig route behind it. There's a lot of ways. And you see they're in man or something, put Justin Jefferson in the backfield or in the slot. Now we know it's man. He runs those quick little slants or those out routes. You can't guard it. So Kevin O'Connell is doing a great job of helping Kirk Cousins see the coverage and then also understand where Justin Jefferson is in the play.
No one is more excited about going back into this stadium today than Dalvin Cook, who's had success in this stadium. He's had success in Miami, and it means a lot to him. You could see the smile on his face all week about returning to Miami and trying to put on a good show in front of a lot of family and friends there today.
Yeah, that's his hometown. He said it. He said Minnesota has actually made him want to have Minnesota as his second home. But he said he's from that area. He played growing up there in high school. He played at Florida State, so he's had some bowl games there. I mean, he loves this atmosphere, and whenever you get to go home, that's fun. Like when I got to go back to Michigan or Michigan State, or when we played the line, all that kind of stuff. When you get to go home, it's fun. And so that's what Dalvin Cook's looking forward to. And of course, I mean, it was like 30-something degrees here this week. And so you get to go to the nice sunny too. I think that's part of it too. And then he talked about all the restaurants. I saw him on the Audible talking about every restaurant that he loves in Miami. So I'm pretty sure he's looking for. And it's the bye week. So a guy from there, after the game, you win. coach is going to say, I'll see you guys on Thursday or something like that. Guys are going to erupt. Dalvin Cook's like, perfect. I get to stay home. I'll get my own flight back. I'm rich. I can pay
he can do whatever
$400, $500 for a flight back.
First thing, results on the field come first, though, and we'll check on the status of Alexander Madison when the inactives come on. I know he had some injury issues this week as well. But speaking of the two guys we've been talking about, Justin Jefferson and Dalvin Cook, there was quite a play last week, which I think the fans really gravitated to as well. The pass from Jefferson to Dalvin Cook, and Pete Bursich sat down with head coach Kevin O'Connell to kind of break down what happened and what made that play work.
Welcome back to another edition of Film Room with head coach Kevin O'Connell. And coach, congratulations on the big win against Chicago. We've picked out a couple of our favorite plays that we're hoping you could walk us through.
Yeah, obviously it was a big, another big divisional home win in front of our fans at US Bank. But I thought this one was a great one you picked because it was a critical play in the game. 3rd and 10 here, coming off of a penalty. We wanted to try to activate a play where obviously we've seen Justin Jefferson do a lot of things for us this year. We had not seen him throw the football yet. So off of a play where we had a receiver screen for a touchdown out to Alexander Madison against the Saints. We've thrown quite a bit of different variations of plays off of our run game where we activate our receivers. So why not marry that together with a double pass screen back to Dalvin Cook? So first and foremost, you'll realize JJ is going to start out as the outermost receiver right here. And as we play this, you're going to see Dalvin Cook kind of fake a little bit of an action across from the backfield right here. He'll cross in front of Kirk and then just try to get out and find a little dead area. JJ is going to short motion down right here, and we're going to make it feel like we are trying to block for a receiver screen right here and get him just a nice conservative play on a 3rd down, get maybe a little bit better field position. But obviously, we're not doing that. We're going to throw this thing to Justin. He's going to stop and get back behind Kirk to make this a lateral. Kirk does an unbelievable job in a pressure look. Didn't anticipate a big-time pressure look right here, but he throws, as always Kirk does, right where he needs to put that football, puts it right on Justin. At that point, you're going to see about 3 or 4 of our linemen get out here, and that's very important because we do, in fact, refer to this play as a convoy type of play, and that's exactly what you're going to see out in front of Dalvin as he ends up catching this football outside the numbers. I think you guys had it as a 40-plus yard throw for JJ. So not everybody can make this throw as he simulates upfield and then just a flick of the wrist right back to Dalvin. And then at that point, you're going to see that convoy out in front. We've got 3 linemen. Brian O'Neill's doing a great job right there, shutting off anybody trailing from the backside. And not only are we going to get this 1st down, we're going to get 23 yards all the way inside the 10-yard line. Adam Thielen doing a great job, as always, fighting downfield. And that ends up getting us to the 8-yard line where we eventually scored on this drive.
Congratulations, Coach. Now we go down to South Miami, Miami Dolphins. It's going to be a great one. Look forward to seeing you all this Sunday.
Thanks to Pete and, of course, head coach Kevin O'Connell. Coming up next, Tatum Everett sits down with offensive lineman Christian Darrisaw, and we'll have mic'd up with Kirk Cousins. Stay with us here on Vikings Game Day Live.
Go to fox9.com/contests and enter the code word PUNT for your chance to win tickets to the next Vikings home game. is Vikings Game Day Live, presented by Luther Auto and Mystic Lake.
Well, I feel like Kirk is more comfortable in this offense. I feel like just with the people that's around him, I mean, we've been together for 3 years now, so our connection has just been growing and growing. And of course, KO coming here with the offense that he's been in before, I feel like he's just a lot more confident and just.
Yes, confidence is everything. Welcome back to Vikings Game Day Live. Mark Rosen along with Ron Johnson here in studio. Don Mitchell, cast of thousands, including our next two guests. I'd like to ask both of them what they had for dinner, but I'm sure they'd rather have many other things to talk about. Ben Lieber and Pete Bursich live at Hard Rock Stadium. And gentlemen, defense, defense, defense. We're trying to see something more from this Viking defense to establish itself as better pass rushing, better opportunities to kind of close things out. I want to get your bird's eye view of what we expect to see today at Hard Rock Stadium.
Well, as always, guys, it's good to be with you on this Vikings Sunday. And yes, I mean, Vikings defense is going to be a big talker today, mainly because we're not going to see Tua Tagovailoa and how this offense can really run with this Miami Dolphins and this new head coaching scheme. We're going to see backup quarterback, the third string quarterback, Skylar Thompson. And so as we bring in Pete Bursich, you know, a lot to be made of this hot start by the Miami Dolphins under Tua. But now we're going to see the third string quarterback. What do you think changes, if anything at all, with Skylar Thompson and this Vikings defense?
Well, I mean, I think if anything's going to change, I think they're going to try to emphasize the run more. But with Raheem Mostert and his physical condition, how are they going to do that? Tyreek Hill, they're going to find a way to get him the football, whether it's jet sweep, short pass. Skylar has a good arm. He has a good, solid arm, good, strong arm. You know, a lot of critique of him last week was just footwork and fundamentals, and I'm sure he's worked on that all week. The problem he had last week was the deep ball. And so I don't know. This is a wide open, explosive style of passing game. A lot of it's run after catch, but we'll see how many shots he takes deep.
Okay, now let's jump over to our defense, or our offense, excuse me, looking at the Miami Dolphins defense. They rank 29th in scoring defense, and they're really just lagging in a lot of defensive metrics. How can we take advantage of this Dolphins defense?
Well, first of all, with Xavier Howard being back, that's a big thing. The defense and the coordinator here they've been criticized because they want to play press man, right? And they don't have the guys to do it because of the injuries. So when they are forced to play zone and when they're forced to have some of these younger guys get in there and play zone, they haven't been very good at it. So, you know, that's where there's some, you know, I think opportunities. Our one-on-one matchups, and one of our guys has to win if they want to play man-to-man against us.
All right, I like it. I like our chances if they're going to play man-to-man defense against us. All right, thanks a lot, Pete Bursich. And guys, we're going to send it back to you, back in the Twin Cities, and a cold Twin Cities as opposed to this Miami, Florida.
Okay, yeah, we get it, Ben. We get it. We understand that. Hey, listen, you're a Kansas State guy. Do you remember Skylar Thompson playing football for them? I mean, do you remember breaking him down and watching him, and did you think he'd make it in the NFL?
Yeah, I do. I remember watching him play, and look, I think he dealt with a lot of injuries at K-State, so you can't always look at his career and say, like, oh, we're going to make some assumptions and judgments, and, you know, they had a new coaching staff that went in there that implemented a pro-style offense. I will say this about Skylar. He is unflappable. You know, if you let him stay in the pocket, he can hurt you. So I think we got to bring a lot of pressure to get him to move his feet.
All right, thanks, Ben. We haven't seen much of that at all from the Viking defense. We'll see if they can shake things up a little bit to attempt to do that today, to shake that kid up in his first big start as well. Well, one guy who's really developing for the Minnesota Vikings in a hurry is that offensive lineman, Christian Darrisaw. And Tatum Everett had a chance to sit down with the big man and get his perspective on how this year's going for him.
Skill set wise, his ability, his competitive nature, his demeanor, he's got all of it right there for him.
He's just so quiet, so steady. You barely even know he's there because he just goes about his business, and I call him a crime dog.
CD, or as Kirk likes to call you, crime dog. I mean, is that the first time you've been called that before?
So it kind of started last year, but yeah, it's definitely the first time. I didn't even know who that was. He brought up the phone for me. We did a little research and everything, and now I know who the crime dog is.
Well, do you like it?
Yeah, it kind of sticks to me. It's kind of unique.
Yeah, it really kind of shows, I think, your relationship with Kirk. How would you describe that?
Me and Kirk are tight.
I can riff on Christian for a while. He's a great teammate, doesn't seek attention, and is just very steady. So I've really appreciated that approach about him.
You can tell from the difference from last year and this year, Kirk's like, interaction in the locker room is way different. And, like, we're just bonding as a team way better, I feel like, and we've got a good group of guys in that locker room.
Why do you think his interactions have changed?
I really don't know why, but it's perfect for the team. It helps, and we're all buying in, and it works.
It's working so well that he wore your chain on the plane ride home from London. I mean,
Yep.
that's really caught fire, or at least set social media on fire.
Yeah.
Explain that story for us.
We got delayed for takeoff for a little minute, and we were all standing up, and Chris came back to the front, and he said, "Kirk, put the chain on." And Kirk said, "Sure, why not?" And the rest is history from there, basically.
Yeah, he said he felt empowered.
No. Yeah.
Well, if you look into this relationship with Kirk, you also have to look at the relationship with the offensive line. And Kirk has said, you as a unit, he sometimes forgets that you're even playing in there because he doesn't have to worry about you. What does it mean to hear him say that?
Great things. It means I'm doing my job for sure, for one. And I really don't like to talk too much when I'm out there playing. As long as I'm doing my job, keeping Kirk clean, we're winning, so.
In 2 of the last 3 games, Christian, you have not allowed a pressure. What does that say about how you're playing right now?
It's really like the standard that we have in our room. It's just, I try to, every time we step on that field, go out there and give my best performance and just try to dominate each week, 1 week at a time.
It's interesting because this is without you not really having played an entire year in the league yet. You got your first significant action in week 6 last year. Which area do you think you've improved in the most?
It's being able to break down the defenders and knowing their techniques and stuff like that. I really feel like that's probably the most growth in my game, just like watching film and actually learning how to study those defenders.
There was this one play I saw from the Bears game where you pretty much manhandled Robert Quinn.
Yeah. I don't even remember that play even happening like that. Actually, one of my boys from back at home, he sent it to me. And I was like, dang, that really happened. And it's just like, going against him, I have a lot of respect for him. And last year, he kind of got me a little bit, those 2 games. So I kind of had to get my payback. So, but yeah, he's one of the top rushers in the NFL. And yeah, it was kind of awesome making that play.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
How do you mentally prepare seeing those guys every week? I mean, you're going to get the top guy on the D-line every single time.
Yeah, so like I said, just taking it week to week. And knowing like these guys are all different rushers. And just not try to look too far ahead of anything, and just take one play at a time. Each play has its own results, whether it's good or bad. Just knowing like you have another play to make up for that if it is negative. So that's just how you go out there.
This team's now won back-to-back-to-back super close games, which were a problem last year for this team. What has changed to make you guys on the right side of things?
Really just like buying in.
Vikings get the dub. Vikings get the dub, baby.
Just knowing like we got to finish these games in order to get to where we want to go to and accomplish our goals, which is winning the North. So like last year, we fell short of some games that we should have won, and it's kind of like this year, it's like kind of opposite. Like now we're winning these games and finishing them. I just feel like we're just all bought in as a team.
Yeah, Christian Darrisaw has made it okay not to worry about the left tackle position anymore in this Vikings offensive line, Ron.
Yeah, he's a solid guy, and I think I love some of the talkers within all those comments, though. But yeah, I mean, having a guy like that, it has to make Kirk Cousins feel really comfortable back there, because when you're not talking about, I mean, I feel like the last couple of years has been like, who's going to be the tackle, who's going to be the tackle. We're not having those conversations this year.
Yeah, fingernail biting time all the time with Viking fans. Hey, let's take a look at our Fox 9 bet here, our Super 6 Sunday Challenge. We're going to have 4 of those games we're going to talk about right now. There's some really big ones today. The Packers trying to rebound from blowing a big lead in London last week against the Giants. They host another New York team, the Jets, today.
I'm torn because the Jets just ran through the Dolphins, and so I'm a dial in what Pete Burchett would say. I mean, I'm going to go Jets. I think Jets by 3.
Yeah, the Aaron Rodgers has been really good coming off a loss like that, but this would be quite the statement if the Jets could win at Lambeau today. 49ers and Falcons are our next game as well. San Francisco looks like they're kind of getting on a little bit of a run here.
Yeah, and I'm going to go 49ers by like 7. Or no, let's go 49ers by 12. The Falcons aren't good at all.
All right. Well, the next one, what's our next game? Do we have the Vikings game, or are we saving Vikings Dolphins. Well, I mean, the Vikings are 3-point favorites, even though the Dolphins are starting at third-string rookie quarterback.
Yeah, I'll go Vikings by 6. I think Skylar Thompson's going to have his hands full today with that 3-4 defense.
Okay, and finally, Cowboys-Eagles tonight, the big one.
This one, I have no idea, but I do feel like this is going to be a fight somewhere. I don't know if it's going to be fans or it's going to be players.
Oh, look at that.
It's going to be some fighting.
It's in Philly.
But Eagles are playing really well. I'm going to go Eagles by 3.
All right, I seem to agree with you on that one. I don't think Dallas can keep this going. Check out the rest of those Super 6 Sunday challenges as well. Fox Bet Super 6. Look for them today. So coming up next, we're going to preview the Dolphins. We'll get the Vikings and Actives, and we'll go back to Hard Rock Stadium with Don Mitchell right after this.
Welcome back to Vikings Game Day Live, presented by Luther Auto and Mystic Lake.
And welcome back to TCO Performance Center. Mark Rose along with Ron Johnson getting ready to count down to kickoff at noon at Hard Rock Stadium. The Vikings and the Dolphins. Vikings going for their 4th straight win. Lots to talk about as we go back down to Don Mitchell. Ron, there's a lot of talent on that field today, but as we go to Don, You'd be hard-pressed, Don, to find two more talented wide receivers on the football field today than Tyreek Hill and Justin Jefferson. And what a matchup for fantasy football fans and everyone else who's going to be watching this game today.
And you know, that's funny that it's not only the fans that are looking, it's Justin Jefferson that was really looking forward to this as well. He loves it when there are games where you can just go up against the other best in the game or top-notch receiver. So the guys, of course, they're getting ready, they're warming up. But Jets is coming off a monster game, right? 12 catches, 154 yards versus the Bears. Now, he wants to add to his receiving touchdowns. He has 2 receiving touchdowns and 1 rushing. And he well knows that Miami's defense is ranked 28th against the pass. So he's quite literally salivating over this game. Now, Tyreek did struggle last week, but he also hurt his left foot versus the Jets. In the fourth quarter, he had his foot stepped on. He was held to just 7 catches on 47 yards, but you can't blame that all on the foot because that did not happen to the fourth quarter. But the Vikings defense knows we're going to game plan for the Tyreek we know and not for the one that played last week against the Jets. So Jets are in the rearview mirror for Miami, but Jets for the Vikings is larger than life, and he wants to look to continue his great play. And we all know this past week we've heard from both he and KO that they've been game planning to get him open, to keep him in motion, right? Move him around, keep the defenses guessing. We plan to do that again, they say, and look for Justin Jefferson, if indeed he is not double or even triple teamed, to get, hopefully, into the end zone for his 3rd receiving touchdown of the year. Back to you.
And Don, you know, Tyreek is so dangerous after he catches the football, and that's the thing the Viking defenders have to be aware of. It's not so much he's going to catch a 70-yard bomb, but he catches the 12, 13-yarder and turns it into 60 in a hurry.
You know, you're absolutely right, Rosie, because he has the strength and he also has the moves. He can make those cuts and beat a defender and get that yak that you're talking about. So they don't want him to just get a little chunk yardage and then break free for something big. So they want to avoid the big splash play because Tyreek is Tyreek. Once he hits a hole, he is fast and he can be in the end zone before you know it. So they need to beat on him first and foremost and keep him under lock and key.
All right, appreciate it, Don. Thanks so much. Yeah, Ron, there's just a lot of talent out there today with these two. How do you contrast Justin Jefferson and Tyreek Hill?
I'd say he has the second gear. Tyreek Hill is world-class fast. We've seen him race people. We've seen him talk about speed. Him and Raheem Mostert were saying, and Jalen Waddle, you know, that's like a track team out there. I think if you were to have a 4x1, that is the best. That would be the best team in the NFL for the Miami Dolphins would win the 4x1. When you think about Raheem Mostert, Jalen Waddle, and Tyreek Hill, I think they could probably throw in Skylar Thompson and still win. But Tyreek Hill is just a different type of athlete. Like, he's a different speed. Justin Jefferson is more of a true receiver. But Tyreek Hill runs a lot of over routes. He runs a lot of, like, you don't see him running a lot of intricate route tree type routes like Chris Carter. He's more of a, I'm just going to run a deep over. I'm going to run a deep go like here. I mean, he's just going to go. He's going to get behind the defense. That's his thought. He's not running like hitches and slants and all that stuff. He's running a lot of that. You know, they go bunch nasty set stuff, and then there you go. He's going to get out there. They want a guy to make a mistake. If he's even, he's leaving, and that's what the Dolphins are predicated on.
And I'm anxious to see how the Vikings defense approaches this with a rookie quarterback starting for them. If they're going to put some more pressure on them, they have not yet done that with Jared Goff. They didn't do it with Andy Dalton. They didn't really do it with Justin Fields. They have not been able to sustain anything. Does that entice them to have to blitz more because Skylar Thompson's the starting quarterback today?
Yeah, you have to. I mean, unless this guy is going to embody the feeling of Willie Beeman when the Miami Sharks, you know, had their 2 quarterbacks go down, and then all of a sudden here comes Jamie Foxx.
Willie Beeman.
Jamie Foxx comes in and saves Miami with him and Al Pacino. I don't think Skylar Thompson has Jamie Foxx in him, but he can run. So let's not forget that. The kid can run. He's very, you know, he's not a statue in the pocket. But yes, Mike Zimmer used to always say this with rookie quarterbacks. You got to make their life a living hell. Like, he's got to blitz him. He's got to show him different looks. And then Harrison Smith and Cam Bynum have to be able to disguise to confuse him. So when he snaps the ball, he doesn't really know. But keep Tyreek Hill in front of you. That's the key.
We don't have enough time to do a deep dive on it right this second. But the NFL has said, look, we're not stopping calling roughing the penalties, roughing the passer penalties. There were some couple of really absurd ones these last couple of weeks.
Yeah, they're saying they're not going to stop some people. Some people will get the call. Some people will not. I don't think Skylar Thompson's the guy that's going to get the call, or Kirk Cousins. But if you're Tom Brady, you're going to get it. Like to put Tom Brady down and not, you have to lift him up, put a pillow under his head, set him down, put a blankie over him, call Giselle, say, hey, we tucked him in, and then that's the sack.
I don't think they're calling Giselle at this particular time. That's just my own opinion.
She's going to figure it out.
All right, let's go down to Paul Allen with a bird's eye view. The one and only PA down in Miami.
Hey, what's going on, Rosie? What's going on, Ron? Holy cow, these Vikings fans are loud as the team runs out on the field. And the bird's eye view involves Dalvin Cook, because as you guys have mentioned, Dalvin Cook is coming home. He was a Miami Central High School star. Honestly, one of the great high school football players in the history of Miami football. Went for 4,267 rushing yards, 64 rushing TDs at Miami Central, and there are a lot of adoring fans here to see Dalvin for his homecoming. But I think they're going to leave talking about KJ Osborne, the Cane. He played in this building, and last time he was here, he had 3 touchdowns for the Miami Hurricanes. So the bird's eye view is they'll focus on Dalvin, they'll focus on JJ, and of course Adam, but the cold-blooded Cane came to South Florida to steal the show. Back to you, HOF.
All right, thanks, PA. That's not a bad pick today. There's a guy that is always under the radar, but he comes up with big plays, and that's KJ Osborne.
Yeah, KJ Osborne, when you think about what he does for this offense, he gives Kirk Cousins another chance.
All right, we'll be right back. We're going to be mic'd up with Kirk Cousins. Golly gee, what's he going to say? Stay with us.
You're watching Vikings Game Day Live, presented by Luther Auto and Mystic Lake.
And welcome back to the Twin Cities Orthopedic Performance Center here in Eagan. Mark Rosen along with Ron Johnson. And Ron, as we look at the inactives today, the thing that's striking to me right now is how few the Vikings are on that list. And we're pretty well into the season right now. And this has been a trend. This is something you want to see because so many teams, you just mentioned Olave's out today for the St. This is something that's been going on just, okay, so DJ Wanham's going to miss the game. He's the biggest name. I don't think it's anything serious. That says something about if you have a healthy team, right, knock on wood, that's a huge issue and a huge thing going forward.
Yeah, when you think about the 53-man roster, 49 guys can dress, that's always the question mark of who do you dress this game. There's no issues with like big name guys being out. And I think that's key. Like you said, DJ Wanham is the biggest name. He is a huge piece of that defense as far as just being able to come in and spell guys. But I think they'll get through it without him, hopefully. And then hopefully his backup gets a chance to play. And he'll be back. I think it was an illness or something. So
I think it was.
Yeah, so that's huge.
Madison's playing, so that's good.
The concussion of Harris and Smith before, all the other little Madison, the little nicks and Zadarius Smith, all those guys with nicks and bruises still been able to go. That's the thing about the NFL. And the best thing about it is they're pretty much healthy. Knock on wood, let's get through this game, and then they have a bye week to really rest up and get everybody back.
Great point as well. Well, Kirk Cousins put a mic on last week against the Chicago Bears, and I'm anxious to hear what the quarterback had to say during the course of this game, which turned out to be another nail-biter for the Minnesota Vikings.
Let's go, baby. Let's roll. Have some fun, baby. Let's do it. All right, EK, let's do this, baby.
Welcome to U.S. Bank Stadium. It is the Minnesota Vikings and the Chicago Bears. It is Bears Battle 123.
Number on.
Play fake. Cousins looking left. Got Jefferson. He absorbs that.
3rd and 3. 3rd and 3. Here we go. Turtles on.
That's a pass play. Cousins to the outside. It is Jefferson. That is a touchdown. What a drive for Minnesota. So hold up on the JJ touchdown. He was down apparently before. It's now 1st and goal from the 1.
Hey, we gotta go, man. We gotta go. What's that?
Hand off Dalvin. Walks into the end zone. Touchdown! Vikings!
Out of the way, Dalvin. Get us in there, bud. Turtles on. Or if you were wide open on the... I gotta get it to you. What is that?
Hand off Dalvin. Swings around the right side.
Get to the corner. Go. That's how you run it. Right away, Dal. Good run, Dal. We're gonna go for 2 if we score, all right? So let's get back here and be ready to go, okay?
3rd and goal from the 1. Bears lead 22-21.
Turtles on!
Cousins!
Yes! We just got in because of you, bud. You got us in, bud.
So now a 2-point attempt to take a 7-point lead. Cousins out loud. Jefferson lunging to get it. And it's a touchdown advantage for Minnesota.
Great job. Way to execute. Nice job. Way to get us in there, Ed. Great job, baby. Hey, great job. Way to go, baby. Way to go. Nice job. Hard to just sit and watch. Hard.
Fields back to pass, throws left, it's caught. Emir Smith-Marsette against his former team. Can't get there! Stole it from him! And wins the game!
He's just a kid at heart. Kirk Cousins celebrating another victory for the Minnesota Vikings. We're going to go back down to Hard Rock Stadium right now. Mark Rosen along with Ron Johnson. We're going to rejoin Don Mitchell and Gabe Henderson with their winning formula.
Thanks, guys. Yes, they're looking for another victory. Keep it rolling, Gabe. And people want to say, oh, it's going to be easy because they have a third-string quarterback, but it's not. So let's start first on defense. What do they need to do? We don't want to be surprised by the number 3.
Yeah, exactly. And you want to keep Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle right in front of you. They're going to make plays. They're phenomenal. They're 4.2 speed guys. They can run past anybody. But if you're a defense, if you're not playing soft man, you have to run a 2-high show. And when those guys catch the ball,
don't let them get too many yards after catch. It's going to be key trying to tackle those guys, because if you can hold them to 4 or 5 yard gains, that sets you up for success later on. And that can, I guess, promote or prompt the blitz for Danielle Hunter or Zadarius Smith. So tackling will is going to have to be really key today with their receivers.
Yeah, we've seen that in the past, right? Get
Yep.
a little success in the running game, and then quarterbacks get a little confident in the passing game.
And that's the last thing you want, especially with the guy in Skylar Thompson, who this is only his second game playing in the NFL, first NFL start. You do not want him to get confidence, because the sky can be the limit for a guy like that, because he doesn't really know his own potential. So stop him early, get pressure on him early, and you can kind of negate what they want to do on offense.
Now, when it comes to the Vikings offense, we both took a portion of this. We're going to start with your winning formula key, and that is to get the running game going fast, right? You got to get that first.
You got to get Dalvin Cook going. If Dalvin Cook doesn't get going, none of this offense goes. And sometimes you can get him going by throwing the ball early, getting him going in the passing game, spread the defense out a little bit, so when you do want to run the ball, those gaps and those lanes are open. So running the ball is going to be effective for this defense. And this is a top 10 run defense in the NFL. And Dalvin Cook, when I talked to him earlier this week on the Audible, he said he takes that as a challenge. If a team wants to stop me, then my goal is to be able to run for 100 yards in them. So I'm expecting Dalvin Cook's first 100-yard rushing game of the season against this pretty stout Miami Dolphins defense.
But on the flip side, their pass defense is 28. So
Right,
you got to exploit it with our wide receivers. But they need to start fast and finish strong.
We've had games where we've started fast and we didn't finish strong. We've had games where we started slow and we finished strong. Let's put all 4 quarters together, mash this thing up, have a complete football game, score early, score often. Don't let penalties and mistakes haunt you, and get a win in Miami. This is probably going to be the warmest game all year, so let's start hot. Let's get hot.
Let's get hot like the weather. It's supposed to be 88 degrees. It's already a little humid here. Dalvin Cook wants to get going. He's in his hometown. Let me tell you, not only the Vikings fans are cheering for him, but some of the Dolphins fans too. So they want to get it started early and have it last all the way to the end. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Don and Gabe. And interesting, because Kevin O'Connell's been going against the grain by taking the football and getting it, even if win or lose the toss. He wants the ball, doesn't want to defer to the second half.
Yeah, it's like Mike Tyson said, I'm going to punch first. Like, I want to get the first hit. You know, it's like Cobra Kai. You know, it's strike first, strike hard.
You are really going
mercy.
down the road today, man.
I mean, that's what Kevin O'Connell's doing. He's going to strike first, and he's going to strike hard. He's been watching a lot of Cobra Kai on Netflix.
It's been working for him, whatever works for Kevin, yeah. Hey, listen, we'll come right back with our favorite segment of the week, Sink or Sail. Stay with us here on Fox 9.
Go to fox9.com/contests and enter the code word PUNT for your chance to win tickets to the next Vikings home game. This is Vikings Game Day Live, presented by Luther Auto and Mystic Lake.
And welcome back to our final segment of Vikings Game Day Live. Mark Rosen, Ron Johnson, Ben Lieber, Don Mitchell. It's time for Sink or Sail. You guys ready down there in Miami? Kirk Cousins over 275 yards passing. He had 296 last week. I'm going sail. He's going to
sail it too. Dolphins, this is the 28th ranked passing defense. I'm going to sail that.
I'm going to sink it. Look, I know this defense has gone, they've given up 300 yards 3 times this season, but look, they get Xavier Howard back. I don't know. I think their pass defense will be a little bit better today.
All right, let's see what you think about.
I'm still thinking they're going to do it.
We'll start with you guys down there first of all. Let's talk about Dalvin Cook. Will he finally break 100 yards rushing today? We'll start with you guys, Don and Ben.
I'm sinking that.
I'm going to sail that. Why are you sinking that?
I'm thinking just under it. Just under.
Okay.
It's going to be a little shy of it. I know. I want him to have a big game, but
yeah, I think that they're going to really concentrate on stopping our passing game. So I think the running game's going to get going.
Who are you?
I think Dalvin is so motivated today. He's so sky high for this game. He's going to hit 100.
I agree, and he hasn't had a he hasn't had an explosive all year. I think this is the game. He's home. He's juiced. Right. He will have his first explosive as well today of 20-plus yard run.
Well, your guy, Skylar Thompson, throw 2 interceptions today, Ben Lieber.
I'm going to sink that. Look, I don't think that he's going to make a lot of risky throws. I mean, I think they're going to keep it pretty simple for him, so I'm going to sink that.
I'm sailing it. I know he had one last game that he came in. But I think the Vikings defense that wants to devour, make a statement that they're not going to have a third-string quarterback kind of do well against them.
We can't agree on anything.
Who are you?
And we agree here because I don't see the Vikings defense. I wish they could, but I don't see a trend there.
I think he's going to be conservative. He's going to try not to lose the game.
Yeah, exactly.
That's his goal today.
All right. Tyreek Hill stays under 100 receiving yards, gents and ladies.
I'm sailing that.
We agree.
Yes.
How about that? Why?
Because I really think we've heard a lot about stopping the run, and the Vikings defense has not been up to the task, and I think this weekend they're actually going to break through.
Yeah, he only had 47 yards last week, only 7 targets. I think they try to make that correction this week.
Yeah, Tyreek, the running game, the whole offense, they just shut him down.
All right, we both thought that. I sail, you sink on Tyreek.
I sink it. I think this might be a Tyreek Hill day.
Finally, real quickly, will the Vikings be 7-1 at the halfway point? They have, of course, they got Miami today. They got the bye week, Arizona and Washington afterwards.
Yeah, I'm going to sail that. I'm going to sail it.
I'm going to fan it.
A little. Yeah, maybe. Can't decide. She's waffling.
All right, you guys, we got to wrap things up. For Ron Johnson, Mark Rosen, Ben Lieber, Don Mitchell, the whole cast. Enjoy the game. Vikings and the Dolphins coming up at noon right here on Fox 9.